Hi, I'm here with Daniel Elston, a native speaker from Alabama who spent the last year here at school with us. Daniel, tell us your story. How did you decide to come to Czechia, and how did you happen to travel all the way here to help us learn English?
Yeah, so I got to the Czech Republic. Well, I decided to apply to teach English here, just due to experience I had in the United States. So in university, I worked in a dormitory, and one year there was this big event in my city called the World Games, which is sort of like the Olympics for sports that aren't in the Olympics. So like drone racing, sumo wrestling, those kind of things, right? And while working in the dorm, I got to meet a lot of people from sort of like central to eastern part of Europe. And it was just interesting hearing them talk about like the differences. So for one, they talked about how hot it was in my home state. Or like another example is that they were really shocked by the fact that you had to drive everywhere and things like that. So it was fun getting to hear about their experiences, because at the desk I would be there a lot of time, so I would talk to them like a bit casually. English wasn't the best, but yeah, we made it work, right? And so I decided to apply to the Czech Republic. I looked at some other countries, but the Czech Republic seemed to be a pretty good fit for me. And then they placed me in Zlín, like my program, to work at the school, So I applied through the Fulbright program to get here, and it's been an amazing experience. I really love the Czech Republic now, I've learned so much about the culture and everything, and, wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been fantastic.
At first, when you were choosing the country that you would go to, what made you decide specifically for the Czech Republic? What did you like about it at first?
Yeah, so the Czech Republic specifically, I think, a lot of it is like very rural, and so I liked the idea of maybe working with students from like a rural area. And I grew up in a city, but I did spend a lot of my childhood also sort of in the countryside, like on my grandparents' farm and things like that. So I thought it could be a really cool experience to work in an environment like that. You have these really big, cool cities like Prague and Brno, but at the same time you have like, Kudlov, Holešov, all these other nice places here too. So that, and also just the people they were looking for, I thought I fit the profile very well. So, I am interested in, different ideas and the different ways of life people live. I've been a teacher in the past before, and so I was told that, you guys here really value, or would value, conversation, getting to know about, where I'm from, my background, and would also be willing to share a lot about your culture. So that was really enticing to me, Also the Czech beer, of course, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any differences that you notice between the Czech and the American school systems, and between the two, which one do you prefer?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of differences. So I think there are maybe pros and cons to each. So here, for instance, I think that language learning is done super, super well here. I was astonished just by the amount of students here who know English basically on a fluent level, right? That doesn't really happen in the United States, no one from my graduating class was fluent in Spanish, French, German, anything like that, or not even close to fluent, right? But from day one, I could have amazing conversations with students here. You guys do a lot of the learning yourself, like you watch American movies or you watch English movies. And so I think the language learning here is really good. I think one thing I like about the American system is the way that they really value participation and voicing your opinion and in conversation and things like that. So that's really valued in the U.S. school system. I think if you ask maybe an American what makes a good school system, it's teaching students how to think, which I think is something that U.S. schools do generally pretty well, right? If you're going to what's considered a good high school, you'll come out of it knowing how to form your opinions, looking for different perspectives on how to see things. And so I think that's a big pro there. I think here, maybe it's a bit more of memorization and, being able to recite things, which I think is very different from what I'm used to, for sure. I think in terms of preference, I wish I could just pick and choose all the good things from each school system. I think I'm biased to the American one because that's just where I grew up. But talking to students here, I think you guys seem, from what I've heard, seem pretty happy about a lot of the things you learn, which I really love. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And about society as a whole in the Czech Republic, like, are there any norms or traditions here that you found like weird or different? I believe in one of your lectures you called it a culture shock.
Yeah, and there were many culture shocks for me. So on like the, I guess, larger scale, maybe some of the festivals, so like Easter traditions and that sort of thing were a culture shock for me, or another holiday you guys have, like St. Mikuláš Day, where there's a lot of like scaring of children and things like that. That was definitely a culture shock for me. I think in larger society, maybe like attitudes of different people. I think in the US, people are very willing to just talk to you, even if they don't really know you about, basically anything. It's definitely regional. So in the South, it's very common that people are very talkative. They'll smile at you and do all these sort of things. But I think here people are maybe a bit more reserved, which I definitely understand, Somebody once told me, why would we ask how you are if we don't really mean it, right? And I think that's something that people in the US do a lot, is like they ask you how you are, but they're just wanting you to say good or like, oh, fine, things like that, right? But also I think, people here are super, super nice, really, really willing to help, like back home, I think I live in a very friendly area of the US as well, but here it's kind of overwhelming. So like I could be on a train and maybe I look a bit confused and someone will come and talk to me and help me get to where I need to go. Or, maybe if I'm trying to speak Czech to someone, they'll really try hard to understand me and they won't get mad at me for maybe not knowing the language fully. So I think, even if people maybe aren't as talkative here, I think they're super, super nice. Like, don't let maybe the not smiling all the time fool you. Like, people here are just amazing, I think.
Yeah, thanks. That's nice to hear that. We seem friendly to outsiders. And okay, so in Zlín, what would you say is your favorite place in the city, and then like in the whole country? And like what places did you take time to explore, and then like what's your favorite one? Yeah,
I think in Zlín, honestly, I think my favorite place in Zlín is probably the shoe museum. Like I've been to the shoe museum like 3 times since I've been here.
Really?
Yeah, I've gone with just like different friends of mine, and we always go look, and I'm always like, man, this is really cool, So that's probably like my favorite, I guess, quirky thing about Zlín is just that. In the Czech Republic, I've been to a lot of places, so I've seen like Olomouc, Český Krumlov, Brno, some smaller towns too, so like Telč, if you know where that is, Znojmo, Trutnov in the north, so a bunch of places. I think maybe my favorite place in the Czech Republic, oh man, that is a tough one. I think it might have to be Český Krumlov because of just the beauty and the nature there, I didn't go when they still had rafting, but just walking around the city and going to like the different museums and shops there was super, super cool. I think outside of the tourist areas though, Kudlov, where they had Hody, or the festival.
I'm not sure, but continue.
Yeah. Like that village was super, super nice. I thought that I guess village was amazing. The people were super nice. Everyone was really welcoming. That's going to be like an experience I never forget. It's absolutely great. Yeah. Okay, and now Czech food, desserts, and like drinks. Like, what do you think about them? Like, are they very much? What about Czech foods, desserts, and drinks? Yeah.
What do you think about them? Are they too different from America? Like, I know we have the same brands here and there, and you said that the taste is different and the pronunciation of the names, so I just want to know what you think about all that.
Yeah, I really like the Czech food. Like, don't let anyone tell you anything different. The food here, fantastic. Svíčková, I don't know what it's called, but the duck with cabbage and dumplings. Other sort of smaller things like the honzavi bukti is like one of my favorite. I would consider dessert since it's kind of like a pastry to me, but some people here tell me different things, or even just like Czech goulash, the Czech beer, fantastic as well. I really like the food here. Compared to American foods, I have felt healthier since being here and eating a lot of the Czech food. Like you said, it's a lot of the same brands, but there are some differences. So like, for example, Fanta and Sprite are not as sweet, so some of the sodas are different. But also, I think, you know, the food here, it's like very filling, but I feel like I don't need to like collapse afterward. And I feel like a lot of American food does that, you know. You go to get like a hamburger in the United States, or even some traditional Southern food like fried chicken or okra or mac and cheese where I'm from. And it's like, you know, you feel yourself like kind of gaining weight, and you know it's just not the best food for you. So Czech food's fantastic, absolutely.
Also, I've heard that the portion sizes in like American restaurants, basically everywhere, are just much larger than in Europe.
Yeah. So that's absolutely true. Like, I think for the same amount of money that you would spend here, you could get like portion size and a half maybe in the United States, depending on where you go, what you're doing, that kind of thing. So like even the really cheap places in the United States, they'll give you a lot of food. It's definitely not really healthy food, you know. I think the reason they can do that is because it's not as like high quality. It tastes amazing a lot of the time, but yeah, the portion sizes here are a bit smaller, but I think that's maybe good for my health, you know, but maybe bad when I want to have like, I don't know, like 20 chicken nuggets or something. You know? Yeah. But the food here, I'm gonna miss it so much, so much.
Yeah, and that leads to my next question. Like, what did you like the most about your stay here, and what are you going to miss the most?
I think the thing I liked the most about my stay here was probably the people overall. So getting to talk to like students, you know, talk to people like you in class, hear about what you guys think about, you know, just your lives, the Czech Republic, other sort of topics, maybe the way things we do in America. I really liked hearing what other people had to say, and hearing you guys maybe have different opinions about things and telling me why you think the way you do. I really enjoyed that, you know. In class or outside of class, the people for sure I'm going to miss the most out of everything, you know.
Yeah, that warms my heart that you think so highly of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what have you learned from your stay here? Like, what are you going, like, valuable information, I guess?
I think, like, personal growth-wise, I think I've learned how much I really do enjoy just working with people, maybe helping people learn, and just how good it is to be with people who are really enthusiastic, really wanting to learn, and, you know, doing like impactful work with people who care. Like the students here care, the teachers here care. That's something I've learned, and I want to have that same sort of like work environment when I go back and when I want to be a doctor and things like that. I think about the Czech Republic, I've learned a lot, right? So I've learned about the history of Prague and this country, and, you know, learned a lot about, you know, why people think the way they do, the culture, and I think I'm never going to forget a lot of that, you know. We don't really learn a lot about the Czech Republic when we go to school in the United States. So
yeah, we're not that famous, really.
It's fine. Yeah, like a lot of people still say this is Czechoslovakia, so I'm definitely going to remember a lot of the history and, you know, just how amazing this place is, you know. It feels like I've seen a whole new world since being here, you know. It's like I came here with the knowledge of like, oh, you know, they like beer, they have spiškova, they have goulash, and I'm leaving with like, oh, you know, they have this really deep history that goes back to like Austro-Hungary, you know, and like fighting for their rights and their independence, and that's really going to stick with me for sure.
Yeah, and do you plan on revisiting our country someday?
Absolutely. Next time I be here, I'm probably going to drag my friends with me, so make them come to Zlín, make them see Prague. Obviously, when maybe I have a bit more money, you know, I have a bit more of a stable job, but yeah, I'm going to come back. It's guaranteed, you know.
Yeah, definitely come back and visit us when you do.
Of course, yeah. I'll be coming to swing my TGM. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe another interview.
Yeah, another interview, absolutely.
Okay, and for the last question, this one's sort of bizarre, but what do you think about the Alabama memes on the internet?
The Alabama memes, they're not doing us justice. Alabama's a great place. If you ever go to the United States, Alabama might not have to be on your highest list of things to see, but it's a great place. I think the memes are funny, you know. People in Alabama have pretty thick skin, so we can take a joke. But it is a great place. Lots of nature. I think if you like the nature in the Czech Republic, you'll love it in Alabama. It's pretty similar. That's another reason why being here just kind of felt like home, like specifically around Zlín. It reminds me a lot of my hometown, so it's nice.
Yeah, if I ever go to the United States, I'll make sure to visit Alabama.
Yeah, come by. Come to Birmingham, Alabama. It's a great
Yeah,
place.
definitely.
Yeah, not Birmingham, England, of course. But yeah, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you guys.
That's a
so
wrap.
much. Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Great.
Nice.
Nice.
This is good,
Great
man.
job.
Good interview. Nice talking with you.